Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the Gospel of John. Today we're concluding looking at John chapter 2. We're looking at the last paragraph, which is verses 23 through 25. Now, this immediately follows Jesus' cleansing of the temple, which we've looked at the last few sessions. Now, remember, Jesus was in Jerusalem for the Passover when this occurred. And this paragraph, this last paragraph, is going to tell us he stays after the festival in Jerusalem area for a little while. Start reading verse 23. Now, while he was in Jerusalem at the Passover festival, many people saw the signs that he was performing, and they believed in his name. But Jesus would not entrust himself to them, for he knew all people. He did not need any testimony about mankind. He knew what was in each person. So he stays in Jerusalem for a little while after the festival, and people are noticing the signs. Remember, John always refers to miracles, the miracles of Jesus, as signs, because they point and symbolize and show and demonstrate who Jesus is by his power to heal and to perform miracles. Now, we've only seen one miracle in John so far. That was the turning of the water into wine. But you remember I've told you before that John makes reference to the fact that Jesus performed many signs and many miracles. He very carefully tells us about 7 of them. Through the Gospel of John, we're going to see, I've mentioned this before, that John chooses 7 of the miracles to particularly talk about because these 7 demonstrate clearly who Jesus was. He was the Son of God among us. But he references the fact there are many other miracles I'm not telling you about. There are many other signs. And so although he's only reported at the end of chapter 2 one of those, he does make it clear that Jesus had performed many other miracles. There were many other signs, and people were seeing the signs and were beginning to believe. Notice it says, many saw the signs and believed in his name. Now, the Bible, when it talks about the name of a person, it's talking about the person himself. So to believe in the name of Jesus is to believe in Jesus. People are coming to believe. Now, it's not quite yet, for many of them, what we would call saving faith. I say that because notice the verse 24 says, but Jesus would not entrust himself to them. He did not need their testimony. He knew what was in each person. That indicates that many are becoming to believe in Jesus, but it's not quite to the point of trusting him entirely with their life. You know, in our day and age, we see this clearly. There are many people who believe in God, and they believe in Jesus. If you ask them, do you believe Jesus died and rose again? They will say yes. But even though they believe that in their heads, they haven't yet, with their hearts, trusted him fully. And so I believe that's what's happening here. Many are coming to believe in Jesus. Oh, yes, he's special. The power of God is in him. He's a prophet, maybe more. But they haven't yet reached that point of what I call saving faith, of putting their full trust in him. Now, this is the beginning. This is the beginning, that initial faith. But it's not yet saving faith. So that's why it says Jesus does not entrust himself to them, because they haven't yet come to that point of fully trusting him. We see that so often in our own day. People who believe in God, they believe in Jesus, but are not yet to the point of saving faith. And we want to help them to see more clearly and move to the point where they give their whole heart to Jesus. So Jesus stays in Jerusalem area for a while after the Passover. People are beginning to notice, to observe the miracles. Some faith is growing. Some people have questions. Now, as we move into chapter 3, we're going to see that a man named Nicodemus is one of those. He has come to believe in Jesus. He's seen the miracles. He sees what's going on. And so he's going to want to talk to Jesus. That's good. He's got that initial faith. But now he needs to move a little deeper. So he comes to ask Jesus some questions. And so tomorrow, as we begin looking at chapter 3, we're going to look at this conversation between Jesus and Nicodemus. Nicodemus has seen the miracles. He's seen the signs. And so he has questions. And there's going to be a lot in the conversation in chapter 3. So join us tomorrow as we continue our 5-minute Bible study in the Gospel of John.